Hey folks, Keith McGowan, the Outboard Dad here to help you have a better boating experience, to dispel that myth of the best 2 days are the days I bought it and the days I sold it. So we got all the bolts off, I should say all the nuts off of the studs. The ones on the front and back I just loosened. I didn't take them off all the way. I'm going to show you why, because we're going to get a pry bar in there and I don't want to pry against the stud and mar up the threads. I want to pry against the nut that's still partially on there, and I just want to get it to move a little bit before I get our hoist on it. So please like, subscribe, send me any comments that you have, and let's see if we can get this engine block off the midsection. So I'm going to take my pry bar here, and against my steering, now I'm going to get a little closer shot in here so you can see it. So right in here is that nut. It's just loosened a few turns, so I have about maybe 1/8 of an inch that I can go up. So I want to get my pry bar in here against my steering arm, right? This is where my strength is. You can see the nut is still on here. It's rusted, but it's still in good shape. And we just want to see if we can get this to push our block up a little bit. I'm not sure if it's moving or not. I don't think so yet. But we're going to go around to each one of these. There's 4, one on the other side of this and 2 in the back. And we'll pry back and forth and see if we can get this broken loose. Don't want to go too crazy, just want to go a little bit at a time, hoping to just get it to move a little bit. So it doesn't appear to be moving. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get my wedge and kind of hammer it in on one side at a time. It's just a big fat chisel. And see if we can get a little more force, just to see if we can get this to break loose. Now if this chisel is too wide, then I have some other ones that I can get inside there. Oh, this should do it. Well, I see it might have cracked loose a little bit. Try the other side a little. Get a little smaller one. See if I can wedge it in there a little deeper. There we go. So this is a little better size. If you can see, it kind of got stuck in there, which is what I want. I want to get pressure on it, and then I want to get a little pressure on the other side, a little pressure on the back and forth, and see if we can work this loose. Again, it may take that we have to go ahead and heat this up to get these, because these are probably where it's stuck inside these sleeves. But we're going to get everything we got first. So it looks like we're going to have to go ahead and undress this block, and at least to get all the electronics up top and out of the way, and get the carbs off probably too, because we're going to have to take this rubber pieces off. You can see there's a row of screws here that we're going to have to remove to get this rubber off, and we're going to have to get Big Bertha torch out, heat this up all over different places, and see if we can get this block off. If we can't, it might just be a parts motor. We'll have to give it a shot. So we pulled the bolts off of our coil pack, disconnected our plugs. There was another wire here that went underneath this plate that was connected, a little bullet connector, and this whole assembly should come off. Unless I'm missing something. Nope, just save all the bolts. Remove our hoses, putting everything aside neatly so we know where it goes back. So we'll go ahead and take off all these electronics next, one by one. Looks like one bolt they removed and did not put back in. Probably because they had to access the poppet valve, and that one got missed. So let's see what we want to disconnect. I got a bunch of grounds here. So let's take a look at that so we have it recorded. So I have a bunch of grounds going on here we're going to disconnect that this is connected to. We have our power tilt and trim wire. That should come with it. We can disconnect the wires that go to our trim motor. That's pretty straightforward. Disconnect our primer. There's one of the washers. So these are primer wires for the primer solenoid, so we can disconnect that. We can disconnect our oil tank motors that are here. Goes up to the oil tank sensor. And then we'll disconnect our main power going to our starter here, and we should be able to get this off. Again, I'll take that whole assembly, put it on top of the other one, and keep it nice and neat. Continue to, then we'll get the carbs off. Okay, so our wire bundle comes up. There's a power pack here and plug connections here, and then our wires continue to come down over and get plugged into our neutral switch as well as a ground, and this is the sensor from that head. So that's pretty much all the wires. We're going to disconnect these here, and we're going to disconnect from our stator. Well, that's already okay, so we're going to disconnect here from our stator, probably unplug it right here from our stator. This way we can leave the stator on for now, just so we can heat this block up so we don't damage any of the electrical stuff. If one of the things I'm really good at, it's melting wires. Ask my old partner Brian Keating I used to work with in heating and air conditioning. Wherever I replaced a compressor, I usually melted some wires, so I got really good at rewiring things. So we'll unplug this from the stator. Bring our harness around. We'll unplug from our neutral switch here, our shifter switch. Now it looks like the only thing we have left is the plugs here. Now there's little rubber rings that just came off. We want to make sure we save those. These little rubber, you know, these keep moisture from getting into these connections. They are very clean, so we want to keep them that way. And the ones I dropped on the ground, we want to put back in place so that when we do reconnect this, it has a nice seal. So it looks like the only thing I have left is my main power wire here, so we'll get that disconnected, get this out of the way. I might even leave the carbs. Let's see what it looks like before I start going at it with the torch after we get this rubber off and see if we're not going to melt anything. So as you can see, this is definitely a procedure. This is going to be many, many episodes. I don't know how many, but I'm going to do it one step at a time to show you guys how to do this at home. If you so choose, be safe is the biggest thing, especially when using torches, rigging, stuff like that. We don't want anybody to get hurt. So if you're not sure of what you're doing, please don't do it. I hate to see someone get hurt. That's worse than having a bad day on the water for sure. So please like, subscribe, send me any comments that you have, and we'll continue on and see if we can heat this up and get this block off. I hope we can. Who says we can and who says we can't? What's the percentage chance? Let's see what the comments are. Thanks and have a great day.